Welcome back to Voices of Reason. My name is Steve Ulrich, and we have a treat for you today. We are going to have a conversation with two political consultants, one from the right and one from the left, on their views on how the presidential campaign is playing out, not only nationwide, but throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Please be joined by Dennis Powell. He's a consultant, thought leader, author, and opinion contributor for The Hill and Real Clear Politics, among others, and Craig Snyder, instructor for the Annenberg School for Communications and a member of Republicans for Harris. We do want to let you folks know that neither of our guests today represent the respective campaigns, and they are speaking as informed citizens with decades of experience in politics about how two political consultants arrived at different places in 2024. Dennis, Craig, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
Dennis, let me start with you. Just why have you taken the position you have so far in the campaign?
Well, I'll go back to an old John Wooden quote. He says, character is what you do when nobody's looking. And I think when I look at these two candidates, I have to ask, what are they really about? When you boil it all down and get to the essence, what do they really believe in? I think Trump has been fairly consistent since 2016. He wants to return America to a more traditional stance, which is based on foundations of family, community, and belief in a power greater than ourselves. I think Harris is presenting several faces. I think she'd like to be considered as the Attorney General of California, which was 2017. She skips her period as a senator, and then she also pretty much skips her period as the Vice President of the United States. But I think these when I look at their statements and try to understand what is at the foundation of it, I see Trump as traditional America. I see Harris as wanting to transform America into something that's different. She comes from a very, very different place, more or less like post-capitalism and things like that. I think one of the things that she says repeatedly that I think is one of her core beliefs, because she speaks with such conviction and such clarity and such force when she talks about it, is equity. And I see under a Harris administration that we'd have a continuation of the equity agenda, which I don't think positions America very well going into a future that's going to be very, very competitive as we transform from the information economy to the AI economy. And so many challenges face us around the world. I just don't think she's the right person at this time to be the president of the United States.
Craig, you obviously come from a different position. How did you arrive at where you stand with the campaign?
I do. Steve, it's interesting that you introduced me as sort of representing the left because that's not something that's ever been said about me before. But I'll take it for today. The left flank of this discussion. First of all, let me thank Dennis for this great idea and Broad and Liberty and you, Steve, for giving us the perfect platform. So yeah, I'm here to advocate today for the election of Vice President Harris as the next president. I think, like a lot of Americans, I have been buoyed in my faith in the country's future and in our sort of innate ability for self-correction since the emergence of Harris as the Democratic nominee, because in part she represents generational change that I think is long overdue, and the potential to finally shatter the last great ceiling, glass ceiling on the achievement of women in our country. Beyond that, I think she has shown herself to be a leader who's capable of growing and learning and compromising. And yes, she's made a transition, I think, from a sort of a more left position in the 2019 campaign and in her representation of California, which is obviously a left kind of place, to where she is now, which is, I think, in a center left place that can join with the rest of the what I consider to be the vast American center. The majority of Americans are in the center, and by creating a coalition of the center left and the center right, I think she can represent a way to end what I see as the kind of mud wrestling between the two extremes that have characterized our politics. Now, I'm not here to say that she's, Abraham Lincoln or Winston Churchill. Maybe she is. Maybe she'll turn into a great president. We don't know that yet for sure. But I do think we know, and this is, I guess, where my sharpest disagreement is with my friend Dennis, that the character of her opponent, Donald Trump, is, in my view, manifestly unfit for the office. He has a politics of grievance, of division, and in his own words, it's increasingly dark. And I'll end on what is, I think, the most important point. He refused to accept the results of the last election. He refuses to do so to this day. And he tried through an elaborate set of schemes, which are now fully documented, to trash George Washington's greatest legacy, which is the peaceful transition of power. So the way I tell people who aren't satisfied with this choice, and many people aren't, is that we've been invited to a banquet, and we can pick chicken or fish for dinner. We may want pasta or sushi or a steak, but we're not getting it. They're not on the menu. It's chicken or fish. For Harris, for many sort of conservative voters, center right voters, Harris is, an ordinary chicken dinner, not particularly exciting. But for me, Donald Trump is a fish that's gone rotten, and that makes the choice pretty clear.
Let's debate some of the key issues of the day, and let's start with the economy. And Dennis, let me start with you. When you think back on the Trump years from 2017 through the end of 2020, why do you consider his economic plan to be superior to Kamala Harris's plan?
Well, his track record's superior. What he accomplished is superior to what has been happening. I think Trump, as an entrepreneur and a businessman, has built things. He knows how to see, he's a problem solver. He attacks things with clear goals and clear objectives. One of the problems that we face in America right now is, according to CNBC, we're accumulating debt at a rate of $1 trillion every 100 days. That is completely unsustainable. We need growth, and I like the people that are being attracted to Trump's campaign because they're entrepreneurial. You think of a Vivek Ramaswamy and a Doug Burgum. I mean, these are people who've built multi-hundred million dollar companies. Elon Musk. I mean, if we're going to find a vision for the future, which is not the same old, which is not we just do more, we throw more money at the problems and not get the solutions that we want. We need new thinking. And of all the things in this campaign that I think Trump will only have 4 years, he'll bring tremendous new thinking. He'll look for results. He'll look for solutions. He'll recommend things that change the equilibrium between government and the people. And I think you'll see great things in a very rapidly changing world come out of the Trump administration versus our economy.
Greg, let me follow up on that about the debt. One of the big questions is Kamala Harris lays out her economic plan. There are a lot of proposals that are meant to reach out to the swing voters, certainly in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but how is her opportunity economy